in Chicago, not known for their racial tolerance, to replace blacks that had been kicked off the school board. She did the same thing at the Chicago Housing Authority, which was almost 99% black. So she seemed to be going out of her way, frankly, to wave a red flag in front of the black community, because it was her belief that she would rally all the white voters, and that Rich Daley, you know, would be trying to get some black votes, and that he wouldn't be very credible in trying to get black votes.
Well, when Harold, out of courtesy, appeared at one of these plebiscites at Bethlehem, his whole persona, his whole gift, his charisma, just overwhelmed people, and it was decided that we had to persuade him to run, because it was obvious that he was the most popular and the most likely candidate to be able to run a good race.
A few of us said, well, maybe this might be another opportunity, since Jane Byrne is not the same as the machine. Daley, the old man, is gone. Blandik's been destroyed. This may be an opportunity again for a black to run.
He was the man that was sent here from somewhere, from some planet, somehow, and as we reviewed his life, we knew that he was the man to represent us.
Harold's feeling was, it may be, but there are too many holes. No money, no way to mobilize the people, to get them to come out and vote, and you need a massive street organization and street effort to do it.
And he also wanted to make sure that Daley and Byrne were going to go at each other. To say they didn't like each other would be an understatement. He saw the possibility, as I said at the time, of being the cream in a reverse Oreo cookie.
I have decided to be a candidate for mayor of Chicago.
I'm announcing my candidacy today for a second term as mayor.
I cannot watch the city of Chicago destroyed by petty politics and bad government. I have been urged by the earnest pleas of thousands of people to enter this race. Therefore, I hereby declare my candidacy for mayor.
As prosecutor, drug convictions rose by 25%, and as mayor, even more can be done to make our neighborhoods safe again.
So what's to keep us from making this candidate our next mayor? Nothing. Elect the one candidate qualified to be the mayor, Harold Washington.
We can all win.
Well, the public television station in Chicago, WTTW, felt very strongly that they should take the lead in organizing mayoral debates in 1983, and I was selected to be the producer and the chief negotiator representing WTTW in the three warring factions. When Harold Washington starred in that first debate and literally just lowered the boom on Jane Byrne in his opening statement, that was the defining moment. And just as John Kennedy used his first presidential debate to sort of define and make him respectable to people who maybe just viewed him as a lightweight United States senator, I think what happened in that very first debate is that a lot of middle-class blacks in Chicago, who perhaps had not really given Harold Washington an opportunity or a chance, they saw in that first debate that this was an African American who was standing up there toe-to-toe with the son of the former mayor and the current mayor, and he whipped their butt that night.
There was this instant flash pride that just whipped through the black community, and you saw it as people walked down the street. I mean, they wore these buttons like badges of courage or something.
And from the point of that debate on, being responsible for the precinct coordinator, I could not keep up with the volunteers. It was almost like trying to herd cats.
It was a crusade that took on almost religious or gospel character. It was the duty. It became a sort of a civic religion, if you will.
Harold, he didn't change his pitch much. I would make the rounds with him whenever I could as we went to the wards and to the Puerto Rican community and the gay community and the labor community and the churches. I can't emphasize the churches too much.
I believe in the powers of redemption, and I simply cannot believe in the God I worship that he would permit us to sit on this earth for 400 years, or rather in this country for 400 years, and suffer the indignities which we have suffered piled time after time, high after high, and so heavy it has almost broken the backs of one of the most powerful people in this world.
And the people of Chicago united with Richard M. Daley to be the next mayor of Chicago.
Everybody.
All is calm, all is bright.
I had been a close observer of the political scene when I was at the University of Chicago, and I had much more than a passing acquaintance with Richard Daley, the mayor at the time. And although he and I were on quite friendly terms, warm friendly terms, I was under no illusion about the racial politics in the city. And you know, in counting the votes, it just didn't seem to add up that anyone except a person of European descent would be able to seize the post of mayor.
Good evening. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. The results of Chicago's three-way race for the Democratic nomination for mayor today took many in that city and the nation by surprise. Bob McNamara reports on the Illinois congressman who beat the incumbent, the name, the machine, and the odds, and now stands a good chance to become the first black mayor of the nation's second largest city.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next mayor of the city of Chicago,
You want to have him? You really got him now.
Blacks in the newsroom were delighted. The whites looked as if their mother had died. I mean, there was this great, in the Tribune, there was this great funk that just hung in the air. You could feel it. You could almost slice it with a butter knife. In the meantime, the few blacks that worked there, we walked around and we were so elated, but because of the general sour faces, we were afraid to show it. So we walked around, professionals, and we would go into a private room somewhere, someone's office, shut the door, and they go, yes, yes.
On that night, when Washington won, and the night he claimed victory at the old McCormick Inn, and Jesse Jackson came to the podium, it was an absolute red flag to many white voters in Chicago. Even someone like Bernie Epton, who really gets unmentioned in these stories, who was all set to run as a Hyde Park white liberal against Jane Byrne, did a 180 and became the right-wing candidate of, before it's too late.
I have listened patiently to that clown in the radio and television, and I'm speaking to both clowns now, and I've had just about enough. If any one of you did what my distinguished congressman did, you'd still be serving time.
I tried to talk my brother out of it because I know my brother, he liked Harold Washington, and he didn't think he could be elected, but he was a gambler.
Epton, a distinguished legislator, lawyer, and businessman. Washington, found guilty of unlawfully converting clients' money to his own use and barred from practicing law for 5.5 years. Epton, honored repeatedly for service to his country and his community. Washington, convicted and jailed for repeated criminal tax law violations. The U.S. attorney said he didn't even file his returns for 19 consecutive years. Which one do you think should be Chicago's next mayor?
But in the meantime, you had racist white policemen feeding all sorts of garbage and handing out all sorts of racist literature, accusing Harold Washington of being all sorts of things, from a child molester to homosexual, things with big lips and bones through the nose and watermelons and spitting watermelon seeds. I mean, just very, very gloves off racist literature.
There was a real desperation on the part of some to stop his election, and that's what made